Okay, we are live, Sam.
Here we are. Here we are. Oh, Meet's joined the chat. Good to see. Wait a few minutes for everyone to come in before we kick things off, I guess.
Okay, let's give a few seconds and we can get started. Let's see if someone else joins. Okay, Sam, let's get started with it. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first webinar. We are here to give a little bit more information about the hackathon. It's all yours, Sam.
Perfect. I guess I will share the start of the slides. Bear with me. Oh, you've got the slides there.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, yeah. So welcome, Serverless Hackathon, kind of our announcement webinar before things obviously kick off next week. With the update. There we go. Okay, just a bit of a delay. So what we're going to go through, just going to give you a vague idea as to who we are, first of all. Who is Serverless Guru, organising this whole hackathon that you're all hopefully registered for and going to attend. Lorenzo's just going to go through Hackathon 101, the basics of the hackathon, some concepts and rules, prizes. I'm sure all interested in prizes. We then going to attempt a live demo of something that me and Lorenzo have conjured up in the last few weeks, and then we'll open the floor to a Q&A. Shouldn't take the full hour that we've assigned, but let's wait and see. So about Serverless Guru, who are we? Who is Lorenzo? Who am I? Serverless Guru, we provide development, consultancy, and education in the serverless space to our clients. Our group of developers, architects, educators, we're based all around the world in every continent except Antarctica, of course. And we've got clients, big and small, all over the world. We've been a relatively new company, not sure how many years, but it's been astronomically growing. Ryan, the founder, great guy, got a bunch of we have some good clients. We have some courses. We have a 0 to paid professional serverless course that you can find on our website, and we also like to organize hackathons, as you can see. So I will hand the floor over to Lorenzo to go through Hackathon 101.
Perfect. Thanks, Sam. So now let's jump straight into what everyone is thinking. What is this hackathon actually about? What do you need to do? And what can you actually win by participating in this hackathon? So the idea here, what is a challenge? Is holidays are coming. Let's try to do a full stack holiday themed AI chatbot. Okay, let's jump on the AI wagon, Gen AI, and see what everyone can come up with. The idea is Serverless Criminals Challenge. It has to be an AI chatbot and holiday themed. Okay, the idea is they're the holidays. It has to be holiday themed and full stack. In terms of full stack, feel free to reuse any template that you might find for the front end. There are a lot of great templates out there, and we'll probably be sharing some of our favorite ones in Discord. But regarding the backend, you will need to actually develop everything from your side, or if you start with any kind of template, make sure to add your personal touch and some great features inside. Otherwise, you might be disqualified for that. Just to hop on or comment some ideas of what a holiday-themed chatbot actually could be. We could, for example, the demo app that we're doing, or that Sam will be displaying or showcasing at the end, is basically a chat where we told the LLM that we're using to act like it was Santa or like it is Santa. So you will see some Santa-related questions and answers at the end. Some other ideas would be to jump on the wagon of the Santa app and implement or somehow configure Bedrock to use your AppSync API or any other API so that it can recommend you gifts, create a wish list, whatever you would prefer. Regarding the event timeline, let's see, what is this hackathon about? What we'll be seeing during these next weeks? And when do you guys actually need to submit all your projects? So today, November 24th, this is the first day of the hackathon where we're on the announcement webinar, but it actually starts next week. Next week at this time, we have two very important things. The first one, hackathon officially begins. So we'll have the landing page updated with all the details. And more important is we will have Cyril Bandolo, AWS Hero for Machine Learning, and Sam speaking about a deep dive into LLMs. I'm very excited for that. And I'm sure more of you will be excited and learn a ton at that webinar. The next one will be December 8th, where we will talk technology. Is what is actually what you need to know, understand, or be able to develop with to participate in this webinar, or what technologies will be able to help or we will be able to guide you around to make sure you end up having a really good project at the end. Next one, and December 15th, that's probably the most tech focused or the only one where you will actually see some code, where Sam and I will be doing a demo app deep dive webinar. Here, sounds kind of strange, the title, but we have prepared or developed a demo application, as I mentioned at the beginning, regarding or making it look like you're speaking with Santa. We've put some effort into it, and we want to show you how we developed it and how you could extend this application to add your personal touch. And if by the December 15th you still don't have anything or any project ready, you can take that as an inspiration to start working and then deliver. Project submissions, delivery dates. I know everyone hates deadlines, but that's a hard one that we all need to follow and understand. It would be December 17th. So you'll have a little bit more than 2 weeks or 2 or 3 weeks to actually develop everything on your side to have it ready. And then what everyone is expecting or everyone wants to know, who is the winners? We'll be announcing the winners offline on January 12th. So we'll have a few posts and we'll post it also on Discord to let everyone know who the actual winner was or is. And then the last webinar, this will be one of the most interesting ones to see all the different submissions and live demos of the winners, will be on January 16th, where we'll have the closing webinar, where we'll have some guest speakers, basically all the team that was judging all the submissions, where we'll speak about how the webinar, how the hackathon went, all the submissions, a little bit about all the submissions that we saw, and also some demo of the actual winners. So make sure if you have a really great project and you end up winning the hackathon, you will be on that webinar live with us, where you will be able to showcase your application. So that way, not only the judges will be able to see it, you will also be able to show what you have been working on and reach an audience that has also been competing to see who was the best one in that way. Regarding the project submission, let's talk about what everyone actually needs to send or submit by December 17th. Okay, deadline is December 17th, 11:59 p.m. PST. Okay, that's very important. I know everyone, we have a lot of participants from different time zones. We'll make sure to make it very clear on Discord and on the landing page that it's 11:59 p.m. PST. Okay. Then the project submissions will have three main items. The first one is mandatory. We expect any participant to write and publish an article explaining and going over the approach that everyone took, explaining the architecture that was implemented, and all the different features. Okay, don't be afraid to make or to write a long article. The more time, effort, and detail you put into it, the easier it will be for judges to correctly evaluate your submission. Okay, that's very important. The article has to be published before December 17th, 11:59 p.m., and you will need to send us a link to that article. The second item, it's not mandatory. That's an optional one, but also one that will make it so that your project or your submission actually stands out. A demo video, okay? It's really good if we have a detailed article detailing everything, but it's way easier to better understand the functionality and all the different features that you have implemented if you just record a quick video, maximum 5 minutes. Any video over 5 minutes, we won't open it. Judges won't be able to see that video. Okay, just a quick demo video, 5 minutes, where you explain how it works, what you did, the different features, just a quick overview, similar to what Sam will be doing by the end of the slides. Then, public repository, okay? We are all developers here. We know writing the article can be difficult, or might be not. Most of you won't be very fans of the first one, but it's important to have everything documented and also to provide the link to the public repository. Okay, and we will be taking a look into the code, the quality of the code, that it's clean, that it's refactored. We'll take a look into it. Don't expect us to debug anything of your code or provide any PR reviews or something like that. We'll just take a look and see from a global perspective how well implemented the solution actually was. Okay. Any questions, chat, from the project submissions? Perfect. We have a really good question for the article submission. If there's a minimum maximum length or any requirements to include in the article. Thanks, Jonathan, for that question. There's no minimum requirement or maximum requirement as of yet, but you will see in the following slides that is a item that we will be evaluating. Okay, so you might have a very good project, a very good chat application that has like 1,000 different features and a front end that blows all judges out of the sky with the implementation. But it's an item that we'll be evaluating. So if the article has really poor quality or is too short, we can't really understand everything. That would be something that might end up hurting your actual grade at the end. Okay. Regarding any requirements to include, we'll have everything listed in the landing page in the following phase. But as mentioned before, go over your architecture, go over all the different features. In case you want the architecture, you want to justify anything, feel free to just make like a little discussion of, okay, I thought of these two approaches, but I ended up choosing this one because I thought that was the more scalable one, or that was the one that was more cost efficient. Okay, you will now see the different evaluations that we'll actually do. Okay. Now, going to the prices, the most important part, why everyone here is participating. I know everyone loves learning, everyone loves playing around with new technologies, but the most important part, the argument why everyone will end up submitting something, is to have the chance to actually win something. Okay, then our prices currently are for the third prize, the third best project will be $500. The second prize will be $1,500, and the second one and the first one will be $3,000. Then it's nice to have prizes. It's nice to have the chance to actually win something, but there are some things that everyone has to be actually focused on, or at least know the criteria that we will use to evaluate it, so that you can submit something that is the best that one can provide with the provided timeline. Then we'll have 4 big items that we will evaluate. The first one being backend architecture. Here at Serverless Guru, we love serverless, we love AWS, and we have a lot of people experts in almost any technology of AWS. So we will evaluate the architecture. We will check, hey, how is your architecture? How integrity? Does it have actual structural integrity? Is it scalable or not? Is it efficient or not? You can end up just showing a demo and sending us a submission of a project that you did on local, and it might be very good and end up rating also between the top submissions, but it will not scale good. Okay, or you might end up having a really big EC2 instance that you're not really taking any profit of. That won't be efficient. Okay, those are some little things that we try to understand and check how you actually implement that. Second point is article completeness. Okay, as mentioned before, answering the question from Jonathan, is backend architecture obviously it's the most important one, but another very important part that most developers end up forgetting is how good are you actually explaining or documenting what you have done. I'm sure most of you will relate that in some projects it's really hard to start a project or to join a project that is already working if there's no good documentation. And that's something that we actually want to try and get everyone better, or at least try improving in that part, is let's document everything. How good can we document and explain the backend or the development that we've done? That's something that we'll be also be evaluating. So thoroughness, does it have all the necessary details? Clarity, how clear is it? Comprehensiveness, that's obvious. I know there, most of us, it's English is not the first language. It's not mine. And I don't expect any article to be 100% perfect or with a perfect English. But let's try and do our best. Let's try that it's clear and everyone can comprehend what the article is actually trying to explain. And then real world applicability. That's something fairly important. We can have a really, really realistic chat application where we have fine-tuned the model to really act like Santa. But how is it actually, is something like this actually applicable to real world or not? Because, okay, it's nice to have it now during the holidays, but in the summer, it's not for real use for anyone. So we'll also be taking a look into that, meaning that a project that is better or has more features, like for example, having Bedrock access your AppSync API and fetching the data that you have in the database, will be evaluated better than one that just fine-grains the model to make it act more like Santa or any other holiday-themed personality. And the last, but not the least important, code quality. And that's something that we will check in the provided link for the repository. We want to emphasize on best practices, clean, organized, and coding patterns. Okay. I know with low time or with almost no time. Most of us tend to end up writing spaghetti code, but no one likes it. It's not really maintainable. So let's try to adhere to best practices and follow the necessary patterns. For the rules, hang on, we're almost done, but this is important. Rules. There are some rules that we need to follow and that everyone needs to understand. So the first point would be eligibility. We're opening it up to everyone. Everyone can participate, but there are some acceptance or terms of who can actually be eligible to win the prize. For that, please check the terms and conditions of the landing page. It's almost everyone that is over 18, and if the country doesn't have any specific legal problems with the US. Second, judging criteria is we've seen the items that we want to evaluate, but how will we evaluate each item? Is holiday themed chat application, most of them will be probably similar. So originality is a big plus. Innovation is also a big plus. We're right in the weeks where Gen AI is exploding. A lot of new functionalities, a lot of new services are coming out. Try to innovate, come up with something new. Don't just take any article that is already published in the web and replicate it. And the last one, practical implementation. Same as mentioned in the evaluation criteria. If it's not applicable to real world, it might be very good. It might end up ranking in the top submissions, but that's something that we want to do. How practical is it actually to implement? Third one, and at least that was one of the rules more important to me, is some hackathons end up keeping the intellectual property of the submissions. Here, we will keep it open. Whatever you submit, it's yours. It's totally yours. Even if you win, the intellectual property is yours. You can end up doing with the project whatever you like. Okay? That was something very important that I want everyone to know. There are some other hackathons that have it a little bit more low-key and only visible in the terms and conditions, but we wanted to be very upfront with that. Whatever you submit, it's yours. Privacy, similar to the point before, we won't be sharing any information. Make sure that any chat application that you end up putting out there, be really careful with the data users may be providing. Same we're doing with our application. Everything is deleted. At least after 48 hours, everything is deleted, everything, including the logs. Conduct. It's very important that all the participants follow the code of conduct and all the rules inside the Discord chat application. We don't want to see any kind of behavior that would be against the code of conduct or breaking the rules. So by entering, you agree to indemnify any sponsors for any liability that your conduct might end up providing or generating. And the last one, compliance. You need to adhere to all the labor standards. The sponsor may modify or cancel the hackathon if required. Okay, I know those are just legal terms, but make sure to check the terms and conditions of the hackathon. And now the most important or most fun part. Let's get Sam back into the conversation. I'll just keep silent for a little bit and let Sam show what we've been working on. It's still in an early beta or alpha, but we plan to have this deployed with a little bit more improvements done during the next few days. Okay, Sam, back to you.
Okay, thanks, Lorenzo. Can we get my screen up on display? Do we do that? There we go. Okay. All right, let me just refresh. So this is, as Lorenzo has kind of hinted to, this is our Santa themed chatbot. As he said, by no means done, and we are back-end engineers, so forgive us for this terribly bland front end, but we're a lot more passionate about what's happening behind the scenes. We're not really going to tell you how we've made this work behind the scenes. we're going to slowly hint at it as the hackathon goes on. And then, as Lorenzo mentioned, we do have if this is the first webinar, the third webinar, I believe, that's for the 15th of December, is where we're going to actually do a deep dive into it. And maybe we'll share the code in a public repo, we'll see. But we're proud of what we've done. We have tried to do it under the hackathon conditions in terms of time. We obviously have client work and whatnot that we've had to work this around. So the demo may not work. I have a backup video in case it does go wrong, but let's see what it does. So what we're doing, yes, Santa chatbots, we're using prompt engineering to try and create the illusion that we're talking with Santa. So I'm going to start with, so Santa sort of gives you that introductory message that you would expect. Obviously, you don't want to be the one greeting Santa. Santa's obviously greeting you. I'm going to ask him some Christmas-related questions, and let's see what he has to say. So, Santa, what happens on the 5th day of Christmas? If I can spell it right. So he says, on the 5th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 5 golden rings. Okay, great. The elves and I were busy that day, crafting 5 beautiful golden rings, yada, yada, yada. One of each fingers. Okay, great. It was a good day indeed. Sounds very Santa-like. So that was a good example of how things will work. Let's ask something else. Let's ask, what am I getting for Christmas? Christmas. Well, now that would spoil the surprise. Let's just say I've been keeping a close eye on you, blah, blah, blah. Okay, thanks a lot, Santa. Let's maybe ask one last thing. So LLMs, they're known to what's called hallucinates. We think that they know everything. Sometimes they don't. I've heard rumors that this LLM can sometimes think that Santa isn't real, but of course we all know Santa is real. So let's ask Santa about that, shall we? So I have heard rumors that you aren't real. Oops. Is this true? Ho, ho, ho. Those are all just silly rumors spread by the Grinches. Of course, Santa is real. So Santa isn't hallucinating here and telling us that he's not real. Of course, Santa is real, and we've made sure that the LLM adheres to that rule as well in the back end. So demo's gone pretty well. We're probably going to have a sort of a public release of this over the next week. We'll try and keep it live during for the duration of the hackathon. We're going to be tweaking things. Maybe the UI will look a little bit nicer. We're going to be doing a lot of prompt engineering, working on the performance. As you can see, some of those responses, they took a fair bit of time to come back from the back end. So Lorenzo and I are going to try and work our magic as serverless backend engineers and see what we can get this looking like by the end of the deadline. So demo went well, didn't go wrong. That's good. So I will hand the screen back to you, Lorenzo, to continue with the slides.
Perfect. Let's get the slides back up. Perfect. We're almost done. The demo was done. I'm seeing some really kind and really good comments there. We have the first question. Perfect. So can we get the question on board on screen from Greg Mondrufus? Perfect. So what kind of front-end implementation can we use? That's a really good question, Raymond. Sorry if I didn't spell your name correctly. But you can use whatever you prefer. The front end, you can use React, for example. You can use Flutter, whatever you prefer. You can even use any front end template that you already may know, or just surf the web and see what you can have or what you can find. Anything is allowed for the front end and the back end. Just take the previous comments and the previous points. We're getting evaluation criteria and rules in mind when developing it. Front end, you can keep it up. Take any template that you want. Back end has to be yours. Okay, so you can start with a very raw template, but the backend you will need to implement it on your own. Perfect. I'm seeing more questions. Let's see the one for Muhammad Kwanit. Not sure if you want to take it up, Sam.
Right, so do we also have to create the AI-driven app for this hackathon, or is this just optional? So I don't know whether you're, let me try and see if I'm interpreting the question correctly. If I'm not, please let us know, Mohammed, in the chat. So what I think you're asking is about the back end. Do we kind of need to create this ourselves from scratch, or maybe can you reuse something? For example, we know the OpenAI API, Bedrock's come out, which, spoiler alert, we may or may not have used. So the answer is that you need a fully functioning backend that you've created yourself. You can't sort of just use something out of the box. Now you could just connect a front end directly to one of these backend APIs. However, I think you need to look back at the requirements. One of those pillars was for your backend architecture and whatnot. And if you've sort of simply bypassed that and gone straight to a third party from the front end, it's certainly going to hurt your score. If you look on the landing page and in the T's and C's, you'll see there is a percentage split for all the sort of the different pillars that Lorenzo went through. And if you're going to bypass that backend and not create it yourself, then there's a certain percentage of your score that you're going to be writing off. So I hope that answers that question. Let me know if it doesn't. I'm just going to follow up with the other one. Don't worry, Meet, we'll come back to you. But is serverless mandatory? Lorenzo and I, we were thinking about this a lot. So yes, we're serverless developers. A lot of the judges will probably come from a serverless background. That's where we have a lot of our connections. But we didn't want to close off this hackathon to a certain group of people that know what serverless is, because getting to serverless is hard enough as it is. So our answer is no, it doesn't. It doesn't need to be serverless. It doesn't need to be running on Lambdas or Azure functions. However, it will need to compete with serverless. So in terms of the scalability, again, it was in, I think, the backend pillar, needs to be scalable. So as Lorenzo said, if you're just running something on a local or on an EC2, you're going to be hurting your score there because you're not competing with the rest of the fields. If you want to create something, running in containers on ECS or Kubernetes, if you're that crazy, then yeah, as long as you've made it scalable, as long as it competes with the other options that we have, given the criteria that we've displayed to you, then go for it. So I think that answers that question. Lorenzo, hand it back to you for the next one.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Sam. Let's answer Meet's question. That's a really good one. Participation is individual or in team? That's a really good question, and thanks for bringing it up. We didn't mention it before, but you can participate either individually or in teams of up to 3 people. Okay? The idea here is let's try to be equal and make sure that if you're a team of 3 people, you will need to split the price between 3 people. If you want to compete alone, you have the chance of keeping everything for you. Not sure if that was what you were asking me, but yes, you can participate in teams of up to 3. For example, if anyone might need any help with front-end, or anyone is a really good front-end developer and needs some help with a backend. Here on the screen, you have the 2 different QR codes. The one on this one here, let's see, my cursor is not showing, but the one on my left, I hope it's also your left, it says join our Discord server. Okay, you can join the Discord. Let's get the conversation started over there. If you want to find someone to team up and get in working, make sure to join Discord. Just drop a question there. I'm sure there will be someone willing to team up with you. And also the other QR code is just to go to our landing page, the one that you probably already registered. If not, make sure to register for the hackathon in the landing page. That way you will receive all the updates also on the Discord channel and also via email when required. Thanks a lot, Meet, for the question. I hope the answer was clear. Is there any other question that anyone would like to ask?
I think whilst we're waiting, I'm just going to add another point onto that, Meets. It shouldn't go without saying, and it is in our T's and C's, but obviously with Serverless Guru we're the ones hosting and doing this hackathon. So of course, teams will be disqualified if there's any kind of affiliation with Serverless Guru. So nobody from internally within Serverless Guru is going to be actually partaking in the hackathon and attempting to win that prize money. It's going to be everybody outside. Of course, we will be in the Discord channel, on LinkedIn, we're on Twitter, and some really smart people, but we're not going to be in any team. So I won't have to quell any concerns that may arise. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. That was a really great point. You might see some articles from Serverless Guru people explaining how they approached the hackathon, but they won't actually be eligible for the prize money. So we have another question from Craigmont. Yes, Craigmont. It starts next week, so December 1st is the official date. From December 1st, you will be able to join the Slack channel. Well, you can already join the servers and Discord server and start asking questions. But from December 1st, it will be the day where we actually do the kickoff. We will be as attentive as possible in the Discord server, trying to answer any questions and trying to help, but being always equal. We won't give you the solution, but we might try to point you in the right direction. And is it completely remote? Yes. Serverless Guru is remote. As Sam mentioned at the beginning, we're almost in every continent. We have a really remote and really diverse team. That's something that I really like about it. So Hackathon will also be remote, fully online. We will be joining every Friday during the hackathon here online, doing some different webinars. But you can always reach us in the Discord server to ask any questions that you might have, or just to team up with someone or throw some ideas around to see what you'd like to end up developing. Perfect. So I hope that answered your question, Craymond. Is there any other question that anyone might have? Otherwise, if you don't want to put it right now in the comments, as mentioned, you can always drop the question in Discord and we will answer it by writing. We have, another good question from Muhammad Hanit. Thanks for being so participant and dropping the questions. Part about the prices, so anyone can be eligible, not just US. Exactly. We're a remote team. I'm in Spain, for example. I'm not in the US. So yes, everyone can be eligible for the prize. It will be in US dollars, but anyone is eligible. Please make sure to review the terms and conditions. I know there are some countries that might have some embargoes, for example, from the US, and in that case, you won't be eligible. But in general, everyone 18 or older is eligible for the actual cash prize.
I think whilst we're waiting, Lorenzo, in case there are any more questions, I'd like to just give a little teaser into the webinar for next week. If that's okay.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
Lorenzo mentioned it at the start, and a few people may have joined late. So it's going to be more. How can I say? We're going to be giving you a crash course in LLMs. Essentially, what we want to do each week is maybe take a portion of solving this problem, this Christmas themed or holiday festive themed chatbot of some kind, and we're going to try and teach you a little bit about the technologies. And we've got an AWS machine learning hero who has agreed to give us 30 to 40 minutes of his time to give a crash course into LLMs, what they mean, Gen AI, all these buzzwords that we've heard. Now, Lorenzo and I, we're not just, but we're only serverless developers. We don't know a great deal about AI, machine learning. We're not researchers of any kind. So how all this stuff works, how Bedrock works, how ChatGPT works behind the scenes, we may know it a little bit, but we don't know it. A lot of us here in the chat probably don't know it. And I've been preparing the webinar with this machine learning hero over the last few days. And honestly, I'm blown away by just the off the wall stuff that he's saying to me that he's going to include in it. It's jaw dropping, some of the stuff that he knows, stuff that I've learned. So if you actually want to understand what it is that you're using, these APIs that are presenting Santa, how our demo worked, how it actually worked, try and tune in next week. I'm so excited for it. And I'm not going to give off any illusion that I have a clue what he's talking about. I'm definitely going to be playing the fool at the start. But at the end, after he's told you how it all works, I will give you some advice into how you can actually use these services and how we used Bedrock for the chatbot. So that will give you a little bit of a head start as well, or accelerate your adoption of those back-end LLM-based APIs. So definitely tune in if that is of interest. I'm so excited for what he's got to say. Honestly, it's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks a lot for that info, Sam. Quick preview of what everyone can expect for next week. And that's also one of the main arguments or why we're actually doing those webinars. We don't expect anyone to be an expert on anything or on everything, okay? Everyone has something to learn. Someone might be very good with the front end, someone might be very good with the back end. So having to do both, having to start interacting with LLMs is something where we are sure most of you will be able to learn and get some profit, a part of the possible prize out of this hackathon. Okay, and not only about LLMs, we're also making sure to make other webinars, for example, the one December 8th or the one 15th, where we'll actually go into the serverless architecture that we've chosen and why we've chosen it to develop our demo app. So thanks everyone, we're really excited for it. And here, not sure if Sam, you have something where you would like to end this current webinar with.
No, I don't think so. Welcome aboard, everybody. Enjoy it. Take part in the. Be active in the Discord. We want to see as many people in there as possible. Let's swarm together and solve this problem. Honestly, it's a problem to solve. It's the new tech. Hardly any of it works. Learns when I found that out the hard way. So let's establish those best principles for the industry. Honestly, no one knows what they're doing at the moment, which is great. So it's a really well-timed hackathon to take part in.
Yep, exactly. We're very excited to have everyone on board. And as Sam mentioned, make sure to join the Discord channel at Discord server. There you will have the opportunity to talk and discuss anything AWS related with some really good experts on all of the fields. So I hope we can see our faces again on the next webinar next Friday. But until then, thanks a lot. Have fun. Continue learning. Okay.